Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Today we give the entire episode to one of the most storied, most technically ambitious, and most culturally significant watch manufacturers on the planet, Omega. Founded in La Chaux-de-Fonds in 1848 and operating from BL since the late 19th century, Omega has accumulated in its history a roster of genuine world firsts, genuine cultural landmarks, and genuine horological achievements that no other manufacturer of comparable accessibility can match. The official timekeeper of the Olympic Games, the watch of the United States Navy SEALs, the watch worn on the moon, the manufacturer that developed the coaxial escapement and the master chronometer standard. These are not marketing claims. They are documented facts, and they form the foundation of 10 watches that represent Omega at its most significant, its most technically extraordinary, and its most desirable. Let's count them down. Number 10. Omega Seamaster Diver 300-007 Edition. Opening our list is the watch that transformed an already iconic dive watch family into a global cultural phenomenon, the Omega Seamaster Diver 300-007 Edition. Omega's relationship with the James Bond franchise began in 1995 when Pierce Brosnan wore the Seamaster Diver 300M in GoldenEye, ending 3 decades during which a rival Swiss manufacturer had held the on-screen privilege. The impact was immediate. The association has proven permanent, and the 007 edition produced to celebrate and honor that partnership is one of the most visually compelling collector pieces in Omega's current catalog. The design distinguishes itself from the standard Seamaster Diver 300 MES through specific detail choices informed directly by the Bond narrative. The graduated blue dial, the distinctive ceramic bezel, the specific typography and finishing decisions that signal to the informed observer exactly what they are looking at. The Master Chronometer caliber 8800 inside, META's certified for precision, magnetic resistance, and water resistance performance, ensures that the cultural cachet of the 007 edition is matched by technical credentials of the highest contemporary standard. This is the Omega for the collector who wants a watch with a story that extends beyond the dial and into cinema history. The Omega Seamaster Diver 300M 007 edition retails for approximately $6,800 $8,000 USD. Number 9. Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch Apollo 11 50th Anniversary. The Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch Apollo 11 50th Anniversary Edition is a piece of wrist-worn historical documentation, a watch produced to mark 5 decades since the most significant single event in the history of human exploration and wearing the visual language of that moment with a reverence and a detail, sophistication that genuine commemoration demands. When Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin set foot on the lunar surface on July 20, 1969, they wore Omega Speedmasters on their wrists, the same caliber 321-powered Speedmaster that had been NASA's official watch for manned spaceflight since 1965. The 50th Anniversary Edition, produced in 2019, returned to that caliber 321, the original column wheel chronograph movement that powered the watches worn to the moon. After years of absence from production, reviving the hand finishing and production techniques required to recreate one of the great Swiss chronograph calibers with complete fidelity. The result is a watch of extraordinary emotional and technical significance, a faithful recreation of the instrument worn at humanity's greatest achievement, with a movement specification and a finishing standard that honors that heritage without compromise. The case is 42mm in stainless steel. The dial features the characteristic asymmetric case design of the original Speedmaster, and the overall package arrives in a presentation that acknowledges what this watch represents in the history of timekeeping and human endeavor simultaneously. The Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch Apollo 11 50th Anniversary retails for approximately $13,000–$16,000 USD. Number 8. Omega Constellation Coaxial. The Omega Constellation is the collection that most clearly illustrates Omega's ability to produce a Swiss luxury dress watch of genuine distinction, and the coaxial variant demonstrates exactly why the escapement technology that George Daniels developed and Omega adopted in 1999 matters in a dress watch context more than almost any other. The coaxial escapement was the first fundamental improvement to the lever escapement, the mechanism at the heart of virtually every Swiss mechanical watch in 2.5 centuries, reducing the sliding friction that conventional lever escapements generate during power transmission and extending the service intervals of coaxial watches dramatically beyond what conventional movements require. In a dress watch worn daily and expected to maintain accuracy and performance over decades, Those service interval implications are practically meaningful rather than merely technically impressive. The constellation's distinctive case architecture, the integrated lugs, the star on the case back inherited from the original 1952 constellation, the bold hour markers and refined bracelet, gives the collection an immediately recognizable identity that sits between the sporting references and the pure dress watches in Omega's catalog with elegant ambiguity. This is the Omega for the professional who wants a Swiss-manufactured dress watch with genuine technical credentials worn discreetly on a beautifully finished wrist. The Omega Constellation coaxial retails from approximately $4,500 to $6,500 USD. Number 7. Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean Ultra Deep. The Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean Ultra Deep is the most technically extreme watch Omega has ever produced. A timepiece born from a genuine documented operational requirement of the most demanding kind and built to a specification that makes conventional dive watch claims look tentatively modest by comparison. In 2019, Omega partnered with explorer Victor Vescovo and the 5 Deeps expedition to develop a watch capable of surviving the deepest point in each of the world's 5 oceans. The result? Worn to Challenger Deep in the Mariana Trench at a depth of 10,928 meters, achieved a verified water resistance of 15,000 meters in testing, a figure that exists so far beyond any competitive specification that it functions less as a dive watch credential and more as proof of engineering concept. The Planet Ocean. Ultra Deep's Grade 5 titanium case, the transparent sapphire caseback, the ceramic bezel, and the helium escape valve are all standard Seamaster Planet Ocean elements pushed to extraordinary extremes, each component re-engineered for pressures that the human body cannot survive and that conventional watchmaking materials cannot accommodate. The watch that returned from Challenger Deep is a document of what Omega's engineering capabilities look like when every constraint except physics itself is removed. The Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean Ultra Deep retails for approximately $14,000, $18,000 USD. Number 6. Omega de Ville Tourbillon. The Omega de Ville Tourbillon is Omega's declaration that its manufacture credentials extend without apology into the most demanding territory of classical complications watchmaking, and the result is a tourbillon that earns its technical claims through the evidence of a movement produced entirely in-house to standards that the complications market at its highest level requires. The tourbillon complication was invented by Abraham Louis Breguet in 1801 to counteract the effect of gravity on the precision of a pocket watch held vertically in the waistcoat pocket. In a wristwatch, which rotates continuously on the wrist, averaging out the gravitational effect across multiple positions, the tourbillon's functional argument is more debated, but its technical and aesthetic argument is beyond question. The rotating cage, carrying the escapement and balance wheel through a complete revolution every 60 seconds, is one of the most mesmerizing mechanical spectacles in all of watchmaking. The de Ville Tourbillon houses Omega's Caliber 2636, a column wheel chronograph tourbillon movement of exceptional finishing quality visible through the exhibition caseback, in a slim, classically proportioned case that allows the complication to speak without architectural competition. This is the Omega for the serious collector who wants a manufactured tourbillon from a house whose movement credentials are beyond question. The Omega de Ville Tourbillon retails from approximately $45,000 to $80,000 USD depending on material configuration. Number 5. Omega Speedmaster. Dark Side of the Moon. The Omega Speedmaster. Dark Side of the Moon is the watch that demonstrated what happens when Omega gives its designers complete creative freedom within the Speedmaster architecture. And the result, when it arrived in 2013, rewrote the assumptions of what a ceramic watch case could look, feel, and perform like at this price point. The Dark Side of the Moon case is machined entirely from zirconia ceramic, the same material used in dental prosthetics and aerospace components, through a process so demanding that the case requires days of machining time and produces extraordinarily high levels of material waste relative to a conventional stainless steel case. The result is a case of absolute uniform blackness, not the coated blackness of DLC-treated steel, which can chip and wear through to the substrate, but the intrinsic, through-and-through blackness of a ceramic whose color is a material property rather than a surface treatment. The black ceramic dial, the black hands and subdials, and the black ceramic bracelet create a watch of such complete chromatic conviction that it reads as an object from a different design vocabulary than anything else the Speedmaster family has produced. The manual wind coaxial caliber inside provides mechanical substance appropriate for a watch this visually ambitious. The Omega Speedmaster Dark Side of the Moon retails for approximately $9,500 or $12,000 USD. Number 4. Omega Seamaster 300 Master Chronometer. The Omega Seamaster 300 Master Chronometer is the watch that draws the most direct and the most powerful line between Omega's contemporary engineering ambitions and its most historically resonant design heritage. The Seamaster 300, the original professional dive watch produced for military and civilian diving use from 1957, is the reference that preceded and informed the Seamaster Diver 300M, a watch used by the British Special Boat Service and other elite military units and valued for the clarity and robustness that professional operational use demands. The modern Seamaster 300 Master Chronometer revisits that 1957 original with a fidelity that design-conscious collectors immediately recognize and respond to. The broad arrow handset inherited directly from military specification watches, the printed indices recalling the original's uncluttered dial. The specific case proportions that distinguish this from the more contemporary Seamaster diver architecture. Master Chronometer certification, requiring both Koski Chronometer Standard and the additional META certification for magnetic resistance above 15,000 Gauss, gives the heritage aesthetics a technical foundation of the highest contemporary standard. This is the Seamaster for the collector who knows why it matters and wears it accordingly. The Omega Seamaster 300 Master Chronometer retails for approximately $6,500 or $8,500 USD. Number 3. Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch Sapphire Sandwich. The Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch Sapphire Sandwich is the reference for the collector who has fallen completely and irreversibly in love with the Speedmaster and wants to look at the movement responsible for its most extraordinary achievement from every possible angle. The Sapphire Sandwich designation refers to the case construction. Sapphire crystal not only on the front of the watch through which the dial is observed, but on the case back as well, a transparent window into the caliber 1861 or 3861 manual wind movement that powers the Moonwatch and has evolved from the movement that accompanied 12 men to the lunar surface. Looking at the Sapphire Sandwich in person is one of the more genuinely moving experiences available in watch collecting. The same visual DNA as the standard Moonwatch on one face, and through the caseback, the gear train, the column wheel, and the balance wheel of a caliber connected by direct mechanical lineage to the watches worn during the Apollo program. The Sapphire caseback version reveals a movement decorated to appropriate standards for the exhibition treatment, a consideration that production watch movements not intended for display do not always receive. The Sapphire Sandwich is the Speedmaster for the enthusiast who wants to see as well as wear what they own. The Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch Sapphire retails for approximately $8,000, $10,000 USD. Number 2. Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch Professional. The Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch Professional is the watch against which every other Speedmaster on this list is implicitly and inevitably measured, because it is the original, the standard, the reference that all others acknowledge. When Omega submitted the Speedmaster for NASA testing in 1965, 4 chronographs from different manufacturers were evaluated against 11 criteria covering temperature extremes, humidity, shock, vibration, pressure differential, and acceleration. Only the Speedmaster passed all 11 tests without qualification. That selection, made by engineers, not marketing departments on objective technical grounds, is the foundation of everything the Speedmaster Moonwatch Professional represents. The current reference 310-30-4250-01. 002, housing the manually wound coaxial master chronometer caliber 3861, brings the Moonwatch into full compliance with Omega's highest contemporary technical standards while maintaining the asymmetric case, the Hesselite acrylic crystal, and the overall visual fidelity to the watch worn during Apollo that Speedmaster purists rightly consider non-negotiable. The caliber 3861 improves on its predecessor with a silicon balance spring offering magnetic resistance beyond 15,000 Gauss, a 50-hour power reserve, and Master Chronometer Precision certification. This is the watch that went to the moon. It is the watch that remains, 5 decades later, the benchmark chronograph of reference. The Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch Professional retails for approximately $6,300, $7,000 USD. Number 1. Omega Seamaster Aquaterra 150M. The watch that earns the number 1 position through the most complete synthesis of everything Omega does best, the Omega Seamaster Aquaterra 150M. In an Omega catalog populated by moon landing legends, Depth record holders, tourbillon complications, and ceramic design masterpieces, choosing the Aquaterra as the greatest Omega of the current era requires explanation, and the explanation, once given, is compelling. The Aquaterra is the watch that demonstrates with more clarity than any other reference in the Omega lineup what the master chronometer standard actually means in daily, practical, real-world terms. Meta certification at 15,000 Gauss of magnetic resistance means this watch can be worn against a smartphone, a laptop, an airport security scanner, a medical device, or any of the electromagnetic hazards of contemporary professional life without suffering the accuracy degradation that unmagnetic certified watches experience in the same environments. The coaxial master chronometer caliber, with its 60-hour power reserve, silicon balance spring, and precision within 0 to 5 seconds per day, provides a timekeeping performance in actual use that exceeds what CoSC certification alone guarantees. But beyond the specifications, the Aquaterra achieves something harder to measure and more important to daily wearing satisfaction. It is a watch appropriate for every context, every occasion, every version of the wearer's life. The horizontal teak pattern dial, one of the most distinguished dial designs in Omega's modern catalog, inspired by the teak deck planking of a sailing yacht, is immediately distinctive without being aggressive, elegant without being fragile, sporty without being casual. The 150-meter water resistance handles swimming, sailing, and every incidental water exposure without requiring any adjustment of the wearer's behavior.